You're asked to speak at an event or to a group. You know you have the subject knowledge, but before you have really considered it, the thought's already there. I'm not good at public speaking. Door closed before you've even given yourself a chance. Or someone presents an opportunity, a bigger role, a bigger ask, more visibility, and something in you says almost automatically, eek, I'm not at that level yet. And just like that, your brain has its instructions. Where I am right now, this is the ceiling. Or you look at your track record with relationships and think, my whole life experience so far has proven I'm not lucky in love. Not a description, this is a verdict. Here is what those 3 examples have in common. They all start with I'm not. And every time you say one of them, you're not describing yourself. You are instructing your brain about what's available to you. And your brain, without question, organizes your life around your instructions. By the end of this video, you will see exactly how that works. And you won't be able to unhear or unsee it the next time you reach for one of those sentences. So notice what happened in each of those moments. A door of possibility opened. You were offered a stage, an opportunity, a different version of life, and before you had even properly considered it, your own voice and instructions closed that door. Not because you decided to, because the sentence that came out of your mouth made it impossible. That is the thing nobody really talks about. The sentences you use to describe yourself, they are not neutral. They're not observations about who you are. They are commitments. Every single time you say one of them, you are telling your nervous system what you are allowed or not allowed to do next. I'm not good at public speaking. That doesn't just describe a skills gap, it makes the gap permanent. I'm not a leader at that level. It doesn't just reflect where you think you are, it becomes the reason that you can't take action or move to the next stage. I'm not lucky in love. That doesn't just summarize your history, it becomes the history you keep writing. The sentence may have felt true once, somewhere in some context, and now today it has become identity. Now it is running you. So what you're caught in is something I call the identity trap. And it works because your subconscious mind doesn't have a category for self-description. It only has a category for instruction. When you say, I am, or I'm not, whatever it is, when you say that repeatedly with conviction, the subconscious takes it literally. It builds your behavior and your world around it. It organizes your reactions to be consistent with it, and it filters your whole life experience to confirm it. This isn't just a quirk of belief work, it's how the system was designed. The sentences you formed about yourself early, mostly before the age of 7 or 8, have become the operating system. The ones that you've added since are just extensions of that very same code, and they run beneath your thinking mind. And they produce your responses before your conscious mind even has a chance to weigh in. So when you say, I'm not a leader at that level, what you're actually doing is renewing a contract. And the body listens. The system organizes around it. The opportunity comes and your stomach tightens. A polite decline forms. None of it feels like a decision, it feels like common sense. That is the pattern doing its job. Because the sentence didn't close the door. The sentence is the door. So here's the part that makes this almost impossible to spot. The sentences that are limiting you most aren't really dramatic ones. They're super ordinary ones. They're the ones you have said so many times to yourself that they don't even sound like sentences anymore. You won't even notice them. They just run all the time. I've always been like this. That's just who I am. I'm not somebody who. These feel like honest self-reflection, knowledge, but they're actually very, very old instructions and they are still being followed. And what makes them so hard to see is that they arrived so early in the years when you were taking in everything around you and making it make sense. You were looking at your family dynamic, the school experience, the moment that taught you something about who you were. You weren't choosing these sentences consciously. You were absorbing them, and they have been running quietly ever since. The identities that got you to where you are now are the very same ones that cap where you can go next. I'm somebody who works really hard, got you here, but it is going to cap your next level. I'm not lucky in love, got you through a really painful period, but it's now writing the next chapter without your permission. The shift isn't to replace the old sentences with a new one. It's like putting a plaster on top. That's a surface move. You can tell yourself, I'm a great public speaker until you are blue in the face. But if your body doesn't believe it, the nervous system will ignore it completely. The actual shift is to recognize the sentence as a sentence, to notice the moment that you reach for it, particularly when it's keeping you from something that you actually want in your reality right now, and to ask, is this true? Is this mine? Or is this a very old instruction that I have just never questioned? When someone I work with catches themselves about to say, I'm not whatever it is, and they pause, something shifts. Not in their thinking, in their body. The system that has been organizing around the sentence for 30 years, 40 years, it loosens briefly and a different possibility becomes available. That is the actual work. It's not affirmation. It's slow, specific work of catching the instructions you have been giving yourself and asking whether you actually chose them. If you take one thing from this, the next time you hear yourself say, I'm not something, whatever it is, or I've always been like this, doing this, just notice. Notice what door it closes, what it makes impossible in your world. That is the sentence doing its job. And your job is to decide whether you still want it to. There's a quiz on my website called the Invisible Ceiling Quiz that maps the patterns most often under these sentences. It takes a few minutes. The link is in the description, helenaday.com. The work isn't to stop having a sense of who you are. The work is to stop letting old sentences decide who you get to be today.